Hello, dear fans, friends, and subscribers. It's an exciting cricket happening show today, only for the reason that the match between England and South Africa has already ended. Can you believe it? Yesterday, you felt that South Africa did a good job of getting England to 238 for 5, and today it was the game was closed pretty early in the final session, where England went on to win the match by 7 wickets, thus already taken a 2-0 winning season. They already won the series. They are leading 2-0 in this particular series for the Basil de Oliveira Trophy. They already won the Basil de Oliveira Trophy, and the man who was instrumental in doing that was the chief wrecker, Stuart Broad, who bowled superbly. Look at his bowling spell. He bowled a dream spell. And this is what Stuart Broad has done in the past. He has captured 5 wickets in an innings 7 times. Today was the 7th time that he captured 5 wickets. And what a way to do it. He sunk the South Africans into the mire, I would say. And he was the one who was the man of the match with figures. First, he took 5 wickets for 1 run at one point of time. And finally, his bowling figures were at 12.1 overs, 6 maidens, 17 runs and 6 wickets. A stupendous bowling display from Broad, really testing the South African batsmen. Yes, there was definitely some real assistance from the weather for sure, because it was a muggy day. And we saw Kagiso Rabada actually get 5 wickets, his maiden 5-wicket bag in Test cricket. And then we saw Stuart Broad absolutely dismantle the South Africans to nothing, as this South African innings. In fact, England had taken a 10 runs lead, a slender lead, just 10 runs. And England sealed it all with bowling out the South Africans for 83, thus setting themselves a target of 70 odd runs, 74 to be precise, 74 to win the match. And England, after losing 3 wickets, completed the formalities. But what a bowling spell from Stuart Broad. He really went after the English batsmen and saw to it that they were dismantled one by one. And also, let me tell you one more thing here. I was the other day, as you would remember in the preview, and I was been telling all through this particular cricket broadcast of mine that, well, probably South Africa had erred by not bringing a spinner. But let me tell you, it never went that way. I mean, if at all the spinners had to come into the equation, it would have been on the 4th and the 5th day, and that was the time England would have batted last. But, well, as I said, England actually quashed the hopes of the South Africans. And South Africa, even though Dean Elgar was there, picked up 2 wickets today. But England made sure that South Africa won't have a chance to bowl at them. South Africa won't have a chance to actually bowl at them probably on the final day, and that's what they precisely did. With just 2 days to spare, in the 3rd day itself, the match is all over. I mean, this was something absolute decimation of the South Africans, and South Africans definitely looks like, after being the top-ranked test nation in the world at one point of time, now definitely have to go back to the drawing board, because there are a lot of things to be really ironed out for South Africa, and South Africa are really slipping down the ICC rankings now very quickly, I would say. First they lost against India, now they have already lost the series against England, and that too, that they have lost this series against England at home, and that is something which is very disgraceful for them, especially in front of the home crowd. But South Africa, as I said, probably have to go back to the drawing board now, and the selectors have to sit down together and see what is going wrong. Well, let me speak about it. As far as this cricket happening show is concerned, yes, the prime focus is definitely going to be this match between England and South Africa. I'm going to tell you how Stuart Broad went on to dismantle the Proteas innings for 83. And also, the other things that I'll be looking at in this particular show, but in a very brief manner. As I said, the prime focus will be the 3rd day's play in the 3rd test match between England and South Africa. played at the Wanderers. And also, let me tell you, the Wanderers bull ring is something which has been always been a happy hunting ground for the South Africans. And South Africans have been defeated at the bull ring, and that is also pretty surprising to know, and shocking too, I would say. And as far as the other cricket matches are concerned, today we have the must-win match coming in for India in the third one-day international at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. It's a must-win. If India don't win, Australia win the series. And the next match which is coming up is between Pakistan and New Zealand, and that is also the second one-day international, and that is going to be pretty interesting. As we know, Pakistan-New Zealand matches, the first match was pretty interesting, and we definitely are looking out for another interesting match happening as far as the second T20 match is concerned. This is going to be played at Seddon Park in Hamilton. And the other match which is coming up is Bangladesh and Zimbabwe. The first match was won by Bangladesh yesterday. This is the second T20 match which is coming up in Bangladesh and Zimbabwe today. Now let's have a look. Let's look at the third day's play here in the third Test match between South Africa and England for the Basil de Oliveira Trophy, where England won the series. And let's see how England won the series so quickly on the third day itself. And as I said, I will definitely talk about Stuart Broad dismantling the South Africans. England resumed on their overnight score of 238 for 5 with Joe Root on 106, and it was at the other side. It was Moeen Ali, and it all started with Joe Root being an early victim today, and that was pretty refreshing to see. As I said, the conditions were pretty ideal for swing bowling. It was pretty muggy out there at the Wanderers bull ring in Johannesburg, and it was the start. A perfect start was given by South African Kagiso Rabada, who was moving the ball at some very, very good pace, and he picked up the wicket of Joe Root by getting him caught by Dean Willis behind the stumps for 110 with 17 boundaries. So that innings was over, and after that we saw Moeen Ali getting onto some cracking boundaries. He started counter-attacking the Proteas bowlers, but then we saw some real aggression coming in from Harris Willowen, showing that he can really bang in the ball and he can really get the ball to really come at a real clip, I would say, because what he did is he actually broke the bat of Moeen Ali. Moeen Ali was counter-attacking at that stage. He also was testing Stuart Broad by almost making Stuart Broad bend to his knees. Almost Stuart Broad was down in the stumps, in the sense he was completely, he had to bow down because such was the pace from Harris Willowen. Willowen was generating some very good pace. And finally, we saw Moeen Ali succumbing to his counter-attacking instincts, as it was Moeen Ali who was snapped up by Dean Willis of the bowling of Morris for 19 with 3 boundaries. And after that, we saw Kagiso Rabada deliver a beautiful Yorker to Broad to shatter his stumps for 12. And finally, Stephen Finn was a victim of Morkel for naught. James Anderson not out or not. And the England innings, with just a 10-run lead, ended up at 323. And I thought the South Africans definitely deserved credit for bowling out the Englishmen for 323 with a bowling attack, which even lacked the pace of Dale Steyn and Vernon Philander. So definitely it was a wonderful job. In fact, I would say South Africa did a good job yesterday. They continued their good work, and they finally made a real fist of it by conceding England only a 10-run lead, which was pretty good to see. Kagiso Rabada getting on to his definitely has made a mark for himself in international cricket, no doubt about it. And we saw that Kagiso Rabada picked up his maiden 5-wicket haul in Test cricket as he bowled 23.1 overs, 5 maidens, 78 runs and 5 wickets. A very good bowling spell from Kagiso Rabada in the morning. Morning Morkel had 3 for 76, 1 for 79 for Harris Willowen and South Africa. Now this is the time I'm going to really talk to you about what Stuart Broad did. Well, South Africans started 10 runs in arrears, and that was nothing, as you know. And Dean Elgar and Steyn Van Zyl were the crease. James Anderson and Stuart Broad starting the proceedings, and everything was pretty quiet. And the openers had just pushed on to 23 by the 8th over mark. But once the 8th over started, the problem area started. The problem started for South Africa with Stuart Broad forcing Dean Elgar to fend at Delaware. As I said, the conditions were pretty ideal, but we definitely saw that James Anderson was not really able to swing the ball in the way that he does. But Stuart Broad started the slide for the South Africans as early as the 8th over, as the first delivery, as the Dean Elgar was the first to go, as he fended at a short delivery from Stuart Broad, and Barristow behind the stumps made no mistake. So Dean Elgar gone, caught Barristow, bowled Broad for 15 with 3 boundaries. So that made it 23 for 1 for South Africa. Steyn van Zyl was at the crease. Hashim Amla joined him, and Steyn van Zyl was caught by Stokes. A very good catch taken by Ben Stokes in the gully, as Broad forced Steyn van Zyl to poke at a ball which was going away from him, and it was well taken by Ben Stokes at the gully. So Steyn van Zyl gone for 11 with 1 boundary. South Africa 28 for 2, and then with only 2 runs added, with two kingpins at the crease, Hashim Amla and A.B. de Villiers, and what a delivery from Stuart Broad. And the master was at the crease, A.B. de Villiers, and A.B. de Villiers got an inside edge onto a ball from Stuart Broad. Barristow behind the stumps took the catch, and A.B. de Villiers, the South African captain, was walking back after collecting a duck in a very, very crucial moment here. And England were cock-a-hoop when they actually got rid of de Villiers, as they knew that they had got the big fish out of this innings, and that made South Africa's score look ragged at 30 for 3. And then it was the turn of Broad to get his 4th wicket, and what a wicket that was. This was Hashim Amla now under the pump, as Hashim Amla got a ball which he tried to leg glance. He tried to glance it away, and while glancing it, it was Taylor who was in the way, and the forward shot like Taylor was pretty sharp with his reflexes, diving away and picking up a catch to the bowling of Broad for 5. Hashim Amla gone. South Africa getting deeper and deeper into trouble, 31 for 4. Temba Bavuma came in and joined Faf du Plessis. So there were 2 new batsmen at the crease, du Plessis and Bavuma. And then du Plessis was simply blocking it out. He knew that his presence at the centre was very, very essential, kept on blocking, and Temba Bavuma came in, and what a delivery from Broad, a superb delivery to cap it off. This was his 5th wicket for 1 run, as I said. This was the dream spell, as Broad got a ball to jag in to Temba Bavuma, and Temba Bavuma was nothing. He was caught groping in the dark as the ball went on to hit the stumps, and Temba Bavuma bowled by Broad for naught, and they halved the South African side into the pavilion at the score reading 35 for 5. Dean Villiers came in to join du Plessis, and Dean Villiers' wicket was taken by Stephen Fenn. So once the 5 wickets were taken, it was the South African innings was just sinking, and then Dean Villiers was the next man to go. Caught Taylor once again. Taylor into the equation, the forward short leg fielder, and he took this catch to the bowling of Finn for 8. With 2 fours, Dean Villiers gone. With Villiers gone, the score was 45 for 6, and then it was the turn of Ben Stokes to show his magic, as Ben Stokes produced a beautiful delivery to Chris Morris. There was some bit of pace in that, and the ball actually jagged back to knock off the Morris stumps, and Chris Morris was gone, bowled by Stokes for 1, which made the score 46 for 7, and South Africans were absolutely into the ditch there, as Kagiso Rabada walked in to join du Plessis at the other end. So Kagiso Rabada briefly survived by pushing the score along with du Plessis to 67, but that was set at Kagiso Rabada's wicket was taken by Stokes, as Rabada was caught behind by Barristow of the bowling of Stokes for 16 with 2 boundaries, which made it 67 for 5. Hardiswell resisted, but Hardiswell was consumed, and Anderson would have been pretty happy that he finally got his first wicket in this particular match. I mean, looking at it, it was Anderson's 2nd wicket in this particular match. Anderson definitely, in this match when he came here, he needed only 5 wickets to go past Sir Richard Hadley of New Zealand, but unfortunately Anderson had to end up with just 2 wickets. But nevertheless, he got the wicket of Villoven, as Villoven got a ball which was pitched up, held its line, and Villoven gone. LBW bowled Anderson, and now du Plessis was the one who was left there with Morne Morkel. and Du Plessis. Now what a wicket! I mean, this is how South Africans were all out for 83. As Du Plessis, knowing that now with only Monty Morkel for company, he was probably trying to charge Stuart Broad, and in the process, the ball ricocheted onto his from the bat onto the pad. He didn't time it properly. The ball was high up in the air, and the ball was falling at the center of the pitch. But what a catch taken by Stuart Broad! In fact, on his follow through, stretching himself and picking that catch inches off the ground to cap a fine performance for England, with South Africa into the ditch, 83 all out. And look at Stuart Broad's figures. It makes wonderful reading as 12.1 overs, 6 maidens, 17 runs and 6 wickets. A dream spell. And let me tell you, when Stuart Broad comes in and picks up 5 wickets, he has always done it. He has done it against a lot of other teams. He did it against India. He did it against Australia when he took 8 wickets. He did it against India when he picked up 6 or 7, if I'm not wrong. And now Stuart Broad was a cynosure of all eyes here in the Wanderers bull ring. 12.1 overs, 6 maidens, 17 runs and 6 wickets, and a dream spell from Stuart Broad there. James Anderson would like to forget this test match. He looked absolutely out of sorts in this particular test match, one would say. 10 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 26. Ben Stokes, 8 overs, 1 maiden, 2 for 24. And Stephen Finn, 3 overs, no maiden, 1 for 14. So England had a very, very easy task. They just needed to knock off 74 runs for victory, and Alistair Cook and Alex Hales started off in a nice fashion. But Alex Hales, compared to what I thought the bowling was pretty good from the South African bowlers. Monty Morkel, even though they were defending 74, Monty Morkel was bowling in the right areas. Kagiso Rabada did a fine job, but he was the man who was going for runs. Alistair Cook got into some form by creaming some boundaries of the bowling of Kagiso Rabada through the offside. Alex Hales was kept pretty quiet. By Alex Hales standards, if you look at his knock here, he contributed only 18, but he was pottering at the crease at the time. And then finally, the breakthrough was provided. Even though the score was 64, most of the scoring was done by the English captain Alistair Cook. But then it was Alex Hales who was LBW bowled Elgar for 18 with 3 fours, which made the score 64 for 1. And with 4 runs added, Nick Compton was caught by Morkel, bowled by Elgar for a duck. And then Alistair Cook, as I said, he got into some sort of form here by contributing 43 before being claimed by Morris. I thought Chris Morris also bowled superbly. He was really, really testing the England batsmen, but he was finally rewarded as Alistair Cook was caught by Will after the bowling of Morris for 43 of its 7 fours. And when finally the formalities were completed by Joe Root with an unbeaten 4, James Taylor with 2, match over, England winning the series 2-0 with only the 4th one to come at the Centurion Park next week. And what a victory for England. They can do this, they can have some good rest, and they would feel pretty energized now. 74 for 3, and as far as South Africa are concerned, they have to definitely go to the drawing board, and they have to find out what is going wrong for them, what is working, what is not working. And there are a lot of calculations, a lot of things that the South African think tank has to really get into. So the match was won by England by 7 wickets. So what a victory, what a spell from Stuart Broad. And it was such a wonderful spell. And nobody thought probably by any stretch of imagination that South Africa would succumb so meekly. The bowling, Monty Morkel, 5 overs, 2 maidens, none for 7, bowling in the right areas there. Kagiso Rabada, 4 overs, was costly for 28. Below 4 overs, 2 maidens, none for 15. Morris bowled beautifully, I thought, 6 overs, 2 maidens, 1 for 8. And Dean Elgar, who picked up the wickets, 3.4 overs, 1 maiden, 10 runs and 2 wickets, match over. And as I said, it never went into the 4th and 5th day. Probably if South Africa had scored an if and a but, probably South Africa had scored some runs, probably given themselves a score of probably 150 to 200, they could have definitely stretched England, but definitely they didn't have the spinners. But the way Dean Elgar was bowling, probably one thought, if at all on the 4th and 5th day, one was probably thinking that the pitch will probably crack up, and South Africa will be missing a spinner. But well, it never came to that particular day, as in the third day itself the match was done and dusted. And congratulations to England for having won the series. They have picked up the Basil de Oliveira trophy, and congratulations once again to England and Stuart Broad. Kudos to Stuart Broad for bowling this wonderful spell to sink the South Africans into the ditch. Dear fans and subscribers, I think I'm really running short of time here, but as I said, very briefly, I'm going to talk about 3 more matches coming up today. First is between India and Australia, coming up the third one day, which is coming up at the MCG, the Melbourne Cricket Ground. And I'm sure the Melbourne Cricket Ground will have a holiday crowd, being a weekend. And also I can tell one thing: it's a must-win match for India. If at all India don't win, it's all over for India in this particular series. And as Australia will be taking a 3-0 winning nil lead. And as far as the other match is concerned, Pakistan, New Zealand, the second one day coming up at Seddon Park in Hamilton. New Zealand would want to actually go on and square the series, so that is going to be interesting. And Bangladesh and Zimbabwe is the other T20 match which is coming in, and that is where Zimbabwe have to go on and square the series against Bangladesh. But some very interesting matches coming up as far as international cricket is concerned. So I would say international cricket is absolutely chock-a-block right now, and that's pretty good to say. We need more and more cricket to be played, and that is what I'm hoping for. Well, dear fans, subscribers, always a pleasure to bring you this cricket happening, share my thoughts on this cricket happening show. I hope you all loved it, and your host Ram will once again be with you tomorrow that is on a Sunday. Till such time I see you, I would like to